So this afternoon, started getting some updates saying that the United States is sending a Carrier battle group to the Caribbean Sea. Now, this is exactly what I would suspect to happen if we were going to actually do something. The small strikes that we've seen so far on the fishing boat-sized drug runners is just a pinprick. Bringing in an aircraft carrier battle group, no less the USS Gearold R, our newest aircraft carrier, $13 billion, 4,000 plus sailors on board. That's a totally different story. And the story out of the war zone cites that it has to come from the Mediterranean over to the Caribbean, has to cross the Atlantic. So it'll be over a week before it arrives. Whether its strike group arrives with it is yet to be determined. There's already the equivalent of a carrier strike group in that area, along with the Marine amphibious docks and the Marine assault carrier that's already in the area. But what also just broke a few minutes ago, this coincides exactly with this news. Trump considering plans to target cocaine facilities inside Venezuela, officials say. There are plans on the table that the president is considering regarding operations on Venezuelan soil, one administration official told CNN, adding that he hasn't ruled out diplomacy. He hasn't ruled out diplomacy. However, he certainly has the big stick in place. And we have to think to ourselves, is this only about Venezuela? I don't think so. We have to remember what the Colombian president said when he was in New York to address the UN Assembly. Let's refresh our memory.
Por Asamblea General de los Pueblos en las Naciones Unidas, vamos a presentar una resolución que diga que se ordena a las Naciones Unidas la configuración de un ejército de la salvación del mundo que tiene como primera tarea liberar a Palestina. Tiene que ser más grande que el de los Estados Unidos. Por eso, desde aquí, desde Nueva York, le pido a todos los soldados del ejército de los Estados Unidos no apuntar contra la humanidad sus fusiles. Desobedezcan la orden de Trump.
Disobey the orders of Trump. The president of Colombia is on American soil in New York City, yes, at the UN General Assembly, but on American soil, asking for American soldiers to disobey the commander-in-chief of the United States. Do not think that this went unobserved by the President of the United States. I am absolutely convinced that part of this buildup will be aimed at Colombia as well. And what is this buildup? This buildup is substantial. Let's look at the forces in theater right now. This is from U.S. Southern Command, Air and Naval Assets. 10,000 plus troops in theater. U.S. Air Force B-52H bombers integrate with Marine F-35Bs to conduct bomber attack demonstration. AC-130 Ghost Rider gunships arrive in Puerto Rico. U.S. Special Operations spotted near Trinidad and Tobago. This does include the United States Special Operations Command Ship, which has gotten a little bit of press lately. But continuing on, we have the B-52s, the F-35s, the Special Operations Command Ship, plus what is essentially right now, this is what a carrier battle group looks like. A cruiser, USS Lake Erie, destroyer USS Stockdale, USS Gravely, USS Jason Dunham, and USS Newport News attack submarine with 140 possible Tomahawk missiles. Possible. Our inventory is low, so who knows if that's what they have. But also, the Expeditionary Force. The Expeditionary Force has 1,600 Marines on board USS Iwo Jima, 800 on USS San Antonio, 650 on USS Fort Lauderdale. They operate U.S. Harrier attack jets, which is odd. I know we're changing over to the F-35 for these Marine groups, so this must be one of the last. Plus, we have additional air assets, forward deployed U.S. Air Force assets. We've got plenty of Predators, AC-130s. You've heard of the B-1 flyovers, the B-52 flyovers, and now you add the strength of the world's second strongest Air Force, the United States Navy, with a full carrier battle group. Things are about to get real. And in addition to those Marines, people seem to forget, besides those Marines in the area, there's also the 82nd Airborne and their Ready Regiment. Mission statement: on order, the 82nd Airborne rapidly deploys within 18 hours of notification, conducts forcible entry, parachute assaults, and secures key objectives for follow-on military operations in support of U.S. national interests. So in addition to the Marines that are in the area, the special operations, you can always count on the fact that the 82nd Airborne is also ready to go. So what's going to happen? Well, in my opinion, we are going to take kinetic action. There's no doubt about it in my mind. What that action consists of, I don't know. You don't want to go and try to occupy a city the size of Caracas. Caracas is the capital of Venezuela, as everybody knows, obviously. But with a population of 1.9 to 2.9 and a metro area of 5 million, can anyone say Baghdad? Can anyone say getting into another one of these wars? So what would this consist of? What exactly would what would we be looking at? Because all of this force is far more than you need to go after any single drug cartel. This is not just for some drug cartel. We're about to see regime change. What might it look like? Airstrikes on Colombian and Venezuelan soil? I'm not naive. This is going to take place on Colombian soil too. A lot of the hardcore socialist groups in Colombia are the same ones that they just cross border with Venezuela. The border is basically non-existent for these groups. And the military on both sides is bought and paid for by the narcos. So they look the other way. And the narcos are these groups. They have been since the 80s. The FARC back in the 1980s. Pablo Escobar. This is long. This has been building up for a long, long time, and somebody's finally going to do something about it. So what might it look like? Who knows? You can obviously see that most of the population is going to be pretty much along your coastal cities, along the mountain ranges, things like that. And again, I'm not naive. I think this is also after Colombia. So who knows what it could look like. I have here just this little town that I think is a likely point. I don't know this I have no information on this, but it's certainly not one of the most populated cities. You would be able to probably occupy this town of Higuera. I'm not going to mispronounce it. But what it does have is this lovely airfield sitting right Skydive Caribbean. Boy, that would be sweet, huh? Look at that beautiful waters go skydiving in. Well, you may have some skydivers. You could have some skydivers. but it's just not the ones they thought it would be. Have this lovely 4,000-foot runway sitting right here. Probably very empty hotels. It certainly looks like empty hotels or base housing or whatever you'd want to call it. And looks like you'd be able to have a nicely secured perimeter. Something like this would be perfect to be able to use as a jumping off point for larger operations within Venezuela without occupying an entire country and having the political system of that country, which is already screwed up as it is, which would turn in on itself and get rid of Maduro. And then we could possibly assist in something coming through without us doing any nation building or anything like that, without occupying an entire country, which some place like Venezuela and Colombia would be physically impossible to do that anyway. So, localized base of operations, something like that. A marine landing on, and I have no information on this. This is a huge coastline. Colombia, Venezuela, these are huge places. I just threw out one that, looked like something that you might be able to do something with. I think that dirt airfield would take Seabees longer than what? A week before that thing is, let's have some fun. Measure some distance. A mile and a quarter runway, that'd be useful. That'd be useful. And again, it almost looks like you'd be able to have a secure base of operations with canals, inroads in and out. The population is not the size of Caracas. So security is, although obviously difficult, but someplace like that. I'm going on and on. Saw this coming, and I knew as soon as a carrier battle group was sent over that we'd be hitting the balloon's going up. The balloon's going up. I'd guess we got about 2.5 to 3 weeks before that balloon does go up. Maybe a little sooner. We'll see.